In Violet's entire life, she'd never heard anyone spout so much nonsense as this man was spewing. Had Harrison taken something before class? Was that what was in his coffee? And yeah, a Lunaris teacher would probably be capable of it. After all, teacher-student relationships were supposedly encouraged here, so taking something shouldn't make any difference. Harrison went on and on about how werewolves weren't just the first inhabitants of Earth, but also the true predecessors of human evolution. He practically spat the word evolution, like it was some dumb myth humans clung to. Violet noticed the werewolf students didn't seem bothered by this propaganda. If anything, they looked smug. Of course, the teacher was on their side. Why wouldn't they like it? This was straight-up discrimination, and Violet could feel the tension among the human students. Harrison himself was oblivious to the unease in the room, which felt like a mix of gasoline and a lit match. He continued, "The concept of human evolution, as you know it, is made up. Pure-blooded werewolves were the first beings, blessed with strength, resilience, and intelligence. Humans came later as an offshoot, weaker and less capable." A human student at the back couldn't take it anymore and raised his hand. "And what is it?" Harrison asked. "Dion." "How can I help you, Dion?" Harrison asked, his lips a thin line. He didn't appreciate the interruption. "Is this even in our curriculum?" Dion asked. The whole class burst out laughing, including Violet. She wasn't a robot, after all. She'd been waiting for someone to call the teacher out. And now that Dion had mocked his lecture, she was pleased. Unfortunately, Harrison looked like someone had just spit in his face. His expression was scary. For a moment, Violet pictured Harrison mocking Dion for his audacity. Harrison started walking toward Dion, and with each step, it felt like he was sucking the air out of the room. He finally stopped in front of Dion, and Violet had to give Dion credit. He didn't flinch. He stood tall. Harrison's expression was ice cold. "This class, Dion, isn't for speculative debate. It's a study of werewolf heritage, culture, and legacy. One that's deeply rooted, in fact, even if some humans would prefer to believe otherwise." He glanced around the room, daring anyone else to challenge him. "And the fact that you asked that question means you haven't studied properly or you intended to rile me on purpose." He finished with, 10 points from you." "Man," Dion groaned. "It was just a question, sir." "Another 10 points deducted," Harrison declared. Dion slumped back in his seat, sulking. While Mr. Harrison turned to leave, Violet turned to Alice. "Can points be transferred?" "Obviously. How do you think you've been climbing up the ranks so quickly?" "Oh." The realization hit Violet. Initially, she wanted to compensate Dion for standing up for what he believed in. But a slightly devious thought crept into her mind. What if she transferred all her points away? You know, like philanthropists give away their wealth. That would be like contributing to society. Or in this case, Lunaris, right? But Alice seemed to catch on instinctively, shooting her a warning look as if she read her mind. "Don't even think about it." Violet smiled sheepishly, but the idea had already taken root. "Is there a problem here, Miss Violet?" Oh, shoot. Violet swallowed when she looked up to see Mr. Harrison, standing right in front of her. Judging by his arched eyebrow and cold stare, she bet he'd overheard her talking about transferring points to Dion, and assumed she was challenging his authority. "No, sir." The automatic response was on Violet's lips, but then her expression furrowed. She wasn't going to let this man bully her like the others. "Actually, sir, I do have a problem, and it's with your theory." Mr. Harrison was taken aback, clearly not expecting that. Even her classmates straightened up, tension filling the room. Violet swore she saw someone pulling out their phone. "And what exactly is the problem, Violet?" His words dripped with sarcasm. Violet did not doubt that Harrison knew about her circumstances at Lunaris and didn't approve. In his mind, she probably wasn't worthy enough for Alpha Asher. If only he knew she didn't want his attention either. Violet cut straight to the point. If werewolves were truly the pioneers of evolution, then why didn't they dominate the Earth like humans? Humans have always been resilient, adaptable creatures capable of extraordinary feats. From my perspective, it seems more plausible that, at some point, a human might have surpassed their natural limits and developed the ability to shift into wolves. Through reproduction, that trait could have been passed on, spreading the gene responsible for it. She continued. Or maybe the moon goddess decided to bless some random human for a noble act, giving rise to werewolves. But let's be real, if neither of those scenarios fits, I'd bet my money they were cooked up in some lab experiment gone wrong. Her words hung in the air, bold and unapologetic. For a moment, the classroom was drenched in stunned silence. The tension was so thick, you could cut it with a knife. Then fury contorted Harrison's face, his features darkening with rage. As if that wasn't enough, snarls and snapping jaws sounded around her. Violet's stomach churned as she realized the noise was coming from her werewolf classmates. Violet gulped, her bravado fading fast. In a rush to challenge Mr. Harrison's story, she'd accidentally ticked off not just him, but like a whole race of werewolves. They looked ready to jump out of their chairs and rip her apart, their eyes burning with fury. If it weren't for the other kids in the room, Violet was pretty sure they would have her right there. Great, just great. Make enemies with an entire species. Just what she needed.
Wait, that's not the end. You've just had a free taste. Now get the full story on the Pocket FM app, link in description. Check out our next video and playlist, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.